Hey, it's your girl, Stacy Bullock, your host for Tools for Everyday Living. Here we are on the last Friday in 2023. Woo! I know somebody out there probably like, yes, I'm glad that we made it here. And let me just go up right ahead and go into my gratitude because I am so grateful, so thankful for this platform. I'm thankful for all of you who tune in every Friday and listen to us. But I don't want you to just listen to us. I need you to grab a hold to some of these tools, put them in your human toolbox, and use them on a daily basis. Because, life got a way of showing up, and sometimes things feel like they get a little broken. So we need some tools to fix some stuff. And the stuff is us. So, yeah, we have a great topic today. I got some wonderful guests on here. But we're going to just talk about what are you saying to you about you. Now I'm gonna pause for a minute. I want you to let that sink in. What is it that you speak to yourself? And I was reading this article the other day, and it was talking about how words have the ability to change our world, to change the things that happen to us. And that's not just for the positive, it's also for the negative. And unfortunately, negative words have quietly creeped into our everyday lives as if they're a norm. They are not a norm. And we need to cancel that out right now. We need to pay attention, and you're going to hear this again. We need to pay attention to what we're saying. And why do we need to pay attention to what we're saying? Because this body, this mind, this physical space we live in, it doesn't have the ability, it's not savvy enough to determine whether what we said is positive or negative. So when we say it, it just lands. And when it lands on us and it lands to the people that we're speaking to. But we want to focus on today, we want to focus on what we're saying to ourselves. Is what I'm saying to myself, does it empower me or does it disempower us? We're going to get into that, but I'm going to bring my guest on. He is so surprise guest. I just surprised him about 5 minutes ago. I tell you, bro, when you got some people that are, that are solid, that they will bring good banter to the conversation, those people you need to have in your life. And I'm so thankful that I have in my life who I look at as one of my sons, Gerald Pac-Man Dixon the second. Woo! And that music that you heard earlier, that was should I say the maestro himself, the musical genius himself, um, put together that music. So I'm so thankful. Um, Go ahead and say hi to the people.
Hi to the people. I just messing with you. Hey, I'm just thankful to be back on the show, and thank you for the kind words and the edification. I'm thankful for you as well for the help and the tutelage you've given me and, over the years. Honestly, and so I'm glad that even if it was a surprise, that's the way they say. If you're always ready, you ain't got to worry about being ready. So
Exactly.
I'll be on a good day. So,
I know I read somewhere where it says, be ready in season and out of season.
there it is. There it is.
So I'm glad you stay on the ready. We were talking about, what do we say to ourselves and how do we formulate words that are going to build us and not not tear us down. Um, it's like once you release these words into the atmosphere, you think they're just spinning around out in the sky. No, they are looking for, because there, when we speak, there's this vibration, there's this movement, there's this sound wave that's going through the atmosphere. And when we say things, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta find somewhere to go. I don't know if you've have ever seen, and I can't remember the name of the movie, unfortunately, but if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Pac-Man, you might have seen it before. It's There was a movie where there's this little particle of dust that just floats through the air, but it has a specific DNA on it that it's looking for. And it's actually it will kill the person once it reaches them. And I was watching it, and the little particle floated into a prison and went through the cells and looking for a specific individual, and it found the DNA that it was looking for. Once it landed on this individual, that individual immediately experienced death. And
After innocence?
say it again.
After innocence?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the name of the movie was, but I just wanted to use that as an example. I know we probably got some quick Googlers out there. I have my new executive producer in the background. She might want to Google and send it to us in the chat. But if she can find it, if she can't find it, it's all good. But that particular particle was looking for someone specific. And when it found that specific person that it was looking for, it hit its mark and it hit its target. And I want to say that it it got its result, its end result. And that's what we need to be making sure that we are paying attention to what we say about ourselves, because what we say has a result. It will come to some type of resolution.
Yeah,
And I know that negative words, do you think that they show up in our behavior?
absolutely. Absolutely.
And guess what? They don't show up positive in our behavior. If we speak negative, that's what we're going to get. We wonder why, and I always use this as an example. I know one day somebody's going to clap back at me, but I hope so, because it opens up for conversation. That some of the TV shows that we see, we wonder, well, why is she throwing a drink on that person? And why is she using all of these explicatives towards this individual? Well, because somebody told her that she was a bad bee.
Mhm.
Somebody told her she was fierce. And I don't know if you were there the night that I did that poem called I Came to Change the Narrative.
I think I was.
And I was asking in the poem for us to stop using specific language towards each other, because these words, even though we say them with the intent of, oh, I'm promoting this person, or I am saying that this person is great, the words themselves have a contradictory meaning to what we're actually saying. So when the words go out there, they don't know that, oh, what they said was changing the meaning. No, the word doesn't know that. So the word is going to go and land, and the behavior is then going to begin to show up.
Yep.
Because I want to venture to saying, you tell me what you think. that if somebody continually says I'm bad, do you think that eventually the bad will show up?
Yeah, and then I think on another, maybe even a deeper level, that the bad shows up, but because their perception of the bad is good, they think that what they're doing is okay. So like,
Ooh.
I'm bad, and then you're actually hurting people. Yeah, I'm bad though, but it's like you're hurting people though. But no, I know I'm bad. It's good to me. So like, yeah, it can have that negative effect sometimes.
Wow. Wow. That was an excellent point. Um, now we have to look at and say, how do we make sure that we continually empower ourselves? I believe that that is important because if we don't empower ourselves, how do we expect somebody else to do it? Tell me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all you have is you. And so what are you speaking into yourself? So if you say that I ain't gonna never, I ain't gonna never, I ain't gonna never, ain't nobody else telling you that. But then you also could attract people that wants to be like, yeah, you're right. You ain't gonna never. They ain't gonna help you come out of that too. At the same time, there people but then you'll also, because you're stuck in that mindset that
Mhm.
I'll never change. There'll actually be people like, no, you can change. You've been doing great. Like, nah, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Nah, but, and so you just continue to tear yourself down from that. Absolutely.
Exactly. All right. It looks like we have another guest in the building.
Uh-huh.
And we want to bring up Miss Drea.
Hi,
Ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
how are you?
I always want to say that I want to be able to click a button when I introduce people, and it just goes off and goes, yeah, something great like that. I'm so happy to have you join us in this
Happy to be
conversation.
here. Yes,
And like I said earlier when we started, it is so good to know people that they stay on ready. And Miss Drea is one of those ones who I believe stays on ready. So I was able to call her as well to help us take this year out with a positive bang, a positive impact, so that we will understand what we say to ourselves. It is empowering and it can be disempowering. So, Andrea, just say hi to the people real quick and
hi everybody. Hi, Tag Man. Great to
Thank
see
you.
you. It's always great being here in the presence of great people. Stacy is just the ball of positivity and light, and everything I read and see. I just want to congratulate you for all of the great things that you're doing. It's just so positive, and I'm so happy, and it's always here cheering you on.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next time, tell me to get my box of tissues because I just, we just do what we do. We just do what we were born to do. And it is my prayer that those who watch us and connect to us, that that's what you get out of tools for everyday living.
Yes.
That you find something that will ignite you to continue to go on that journey and that search of who you are, that
Yeah.
you'll continue to want to have a mindset of winning because you're using these tools. And today I think these tools are the best ones to go into a new year with. I'm not talking about New Year's resolutions or none of that stuff. We're just talking about making a mindset change.
Yes.
I heard somebody yesterday, and while I'm on the topic, y'all can tell me about what you think about New Year's resolutions. Take a minute to think about that. The doctor that I was on a panel with yesterday, he said, if you split the word up, Dr. Mantell is his name, matter of fact, it says resolution. So it's like, so we need a resolution for something that we should have had the solution for before the year was out, so now we just want to go back and have a repeat. That didn't sound good to me. So I'm glad I was never one to say I have a New Year's resolution. I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I'm just going to continue to build on my life and who I am and how to help others. So
Exactly.
y'all give me your take on the New Year's resolution thing, and then we're gonna talk about we're gonna take a break, and then we'll talk about empowering.
For me, I feel like if you're continuing and striving to be the best person that you are, then you'll continue to do that. There's no resolution necessary. Just be a good person. Show up as you authentically each and every day, right? And we make set these goals that's too high, or we follow the trend, and a lot of times that's
Mm,
so it's about having your own standards in mind and beliefs and goals instead of following, oh, every year I'm going to do this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to make this different because this was a terrible year, right? So you're not changing anything. You fall into the same trap over and over again, and there's no progress being made. So that's my take on it.
right. And Gerald, before you start, you said something that a lot of people say, and hopefully after this show, they will no longer use that word according to themselves and say it's a terrible anything.
Hmm.
No, nothing is terrible. Now, okay, let me rephrase that. Nothing about you
It's
is
terrible.
terrible.
Exactly. Before we continue, Pac-Man used one of my favorite words, edify, edification. That's my favorite word, and it's important that we edify each other all the time. And a lot of times we don't do that. We allow people to tell us who we are, right, and not correct them on that. So when I'm introducing you or edifying you, I want to make sure that everybody corrects me. No, this is who I am, right? This is who I want to be presented as. So I really appreciate that. That just made my whole
Yes.
just
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Gerald.
Well, as a person that used to be, well, my New Year's resolution, it was something that at least encouraged me to look forward to change or set my mind in the right direction. As I then grew and learned more about myself and understanding that it starts today, it doesn't have to be that I have to wait because, again, as we know, that tomorrow isn't promised.
Mhm.
Not in the morbid way, but just that's just again taking life for granted. You're taking your time for granted when you can definitely start literally at this second to say, hey, I want to go to the gym. Now I can just do one push up today, and then tomorrow's will be two push ups, and then now you're ready for the new year. Like I already started working out. I already have that mindset. So, just in school, you get these New Year's resolution around friends. So it's a good active thing to be accountable for one another. But also, then when you actually again define yourself, learn yourself, then it's like, okay, I can do a new day resolution or a new minute resolution. I can just I just be in the moment now and not take for granted the time that may be tomorrow.
Key point in the moment now.
Mhm.
Because I heard Eckhart Tolle say, that's all we have. All we have is now. I
Mhm.
don't have yesterday. I don't even have 5 minutes ago. I don't have next week. So, and I do notice a lot of themes coming up already for 2024, and I'm like, we haven't arrived there yet, people. Let's stay here. Let's do today and get through today. But I'm gonna take a short break, and I promise you all I will come right back, and we are going to delve into more about empowering. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Staying committed during life's challenges has requirements. First, we must make sound choices for our good. It is necessary to stay focused. The key is to have a target or well-defined focal point. What is the point of success we want to reach? We must decide to be dedicated to the best of who we are. Commitment will keep your feet moving. As long as there is movement, there is change. Make dedication, devotion, allegiance, loyalty, and faithfulness a promise to yourself. Keep you at the center and maintain balance by having a determined concentration. Producing mental strength which increases our power to succeed. Nothing worth having comes easy. Stay the course. If you want to learn more about being committed to you, email info@powerandresilience.com and send a request for more information. Always be awesome.
And I told you we would be right back. And we're going to delve into now let's look at some of the words and what they mean and how we can use them to build our lives, to empower our lives. And empowering itself is pretty simplistic, actually, in what it means. And it simply means that we can make ourselves feel stronger, can make ourselves be more successful than we were just by empowering ourselves, just by authorizing yourself to do what you need to do, to be like Andrea told us earlier, to be that best self, to be your highest self at your highest level at that moment. We're not talking about being the rocket scientist that you're going to school for right now. You know, you're in the first year, you're a freshman in college, and you want to be a rocket scientist. Well, we're not talking about you being at that level. Let's stay here. Let's be the best self that we can be today. Let's authorize ourselves. Let's give ourselves a license. Let's give ourselves permission to do what we believe that we've been created to do. You know, without our own permission, who's going to give you the access or the key to get it done? Y'all jump right in. Tell me what you think about, giving yourself permission.
So I did an interview the other day, and we talked about a little bit about this and just forgiving yourself. So I had created this letter for some of my students, and they just write a letter of forgiveness to themselves. A lot of times we do a lot of different things and we are stuck in a lot of different areas of our life because we haven't had that forgiveness of self. So it's just sitting with yourself in the mirror, talking to yourself, just you alone in the room and saying, I forgive you, for not always showing up for you. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of, whatever you're going through to make, yourself better. And a lot of times people can't do that. In the class, people were crying, and I asked them their experience when they did it by themselves and how did they feel. They said they felt lighter and that they were able to show up for themselves and their children and other people the next day. But I think that's very important, just to take some time with yourself, because a lot of people can't do that. They don't know how to be alone. It always have to have somebody there. You have to be in a relationship. You can't experience that love if you don't have somebody else. But how could you love somebody if you don't love yourself, right? So just going through those different stages of emotion, appreciating yourself, just having that conversation with yourself and learning how to date yourself, things like that. So I think that's important.
Agreed. I'd say too, to add to that, the proverb that I read maybe 10 years ago. I'm not that old, but about 10 years ago. And it was, the best time to plant a tree was 7 years ago. The next best time is today.
Mhm.
And so you've been waiting on this moment because there, for some reason, this might not go right, or this might, you're allowed to try different things. You're allowed to experience different things, but you'll never move. And like no matter what, it's just like going to a party. And they always do this joke about like, well, I'm on my way or who all gonna be there, but it's still you having to allow yourself to even be in that presence, to even do that, to allow yourself to stay home. We give ourselves permission to do so many other things that hinder us.
Right.
We give ourselves permission to like, no, you're gonna stay home, and I'm gonna allow myself to stay home instead of like, I want to try this different thing. I might fail, but I still will learn, and I give myself permission to grow. I give myself permission to love, to live, to be on the talk show, and on YouTube at 428. I give myself permission. And you never know how many more people you connect with or how many lives you change by giving yourself permission. That also inspires and encourages everybody. So always start now. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's real good. And I just had a thought, and it needs to come back because it went down the street, but it's gonna come back. But in the meantime, when you talked about so much about giving yourself, I know what it was. Stop telling ourselves no. We may not utter the word no, but we have told ourselves no for some reason, like, oh well, I don't have the right clothes to wear to this party. I don't. Um, I'm afraid because of whatever insecurities we may be holding on to. And I'm going to be very transparent here. I say to everybody, let your insecurities go. Fall in love with yourself unconditionally, because that will break the sting of rejection. And for the most part, we don't give ourselves permission to be empowered. Is we don't believe that we deserve what the thing is that we're going after. But if you're going after it, if it has come to you, you deserve it. Because guess what? Guess who it didn't come to? It came to Stacy about Stacy. It came to Pac-Man about Pac-Man. It came to Andrea about Andrea. And as the cliche or meme goes, when God told you who you are and what he wants you to do, it wasn't a conference call. It was you and God. And because the information came to you, you're the one now responsible for causing it to become tangible in the earth. I always tell people my books that I write, it was in here first, in here, but all of a sudden it showed up in tangible form. I'm looking around like I wanted to grab one, but because my place is a little empty, if you hear echo, it's because there's nothing in here but me and my dog right now. So, but we have to give ourselves permission to live. I speak that right now. I declare everybody listening to us, we declare that you give yourself permission to live. Don't cower behind what other people think you are. And I'm just throwing stuff out here now. So, what do you all feel about how we allow what somebody else thinks about us to determine or dictate what we do? Gerald?
I think that it does hinder us. I know that all of us has fell victim to that, especially if we looked up to someone that also says that we can't do something, or and it meant like, well, if that person, the person I look up to, does that, like it does hurt us. And it just again is it's a moment to self reflect. It's a moment to self reflect on what I am capable of, and saying like that's now I'm going to give my permission. I'm going to give myself permission to try it. Obviously, don't be insubordinate, but as far as like on a actually you're supposed to be doing this type of situation. But yeah, like we let people And they have to see where their heart is at when they speak down to us, or not even down to us, or like the word rejection. If we're experiencing rejection, so I think
Mhm.
that that's important to see their heart, as well as again, self-reflect and look within to see why I'm feeling this way and what I'm capable of from them telling me that.
Yes, Andrea.
I call it traditional chaos.
Mm,
So we are taught to go to school, get an education, go to work, and depend on these, a job to make you feel like you are competent, you succeed in life. Then we end up with all of this debt, and then we stressed out, and a lot of us are entrepreneurs by nature, but we have this fear because I was taught to go to work and keep that security blanket. I'm not going to be successful and I'm not going to make it. And then when you fail, I told you so, right?
Mm.
Continue that cycle until we get it like, you know what? I'm this not working for me. And that happened to me. I quit my job. I took off a year from my job, but I had to step out on faith. But without faith, you have nothing.
mm,
You cannot
Right.
tell me that is not a God. He shows up for me every single day. And because I walk in this faith and I believe, I don't understand what the word no means. It's going to happen. I'm going to do it. Right. And so, and I try to encourage other people too, and they be terrified. I'm like, we can do this. You're so
Mhm.
smart. Try to find the gift in everybody. We all have.
Mm.
We have to change that. It's not working for you. We see so many people taking their lives, right? Or homeless. I work with the homeless population with people that used to be millionaires, doctors, lawyers, real estate moguls. And then I have these conversations with them. What happened? It's just like
Mhm.
you get to a point where you just break because you're trying to live your life for somebody else. And you put on
Mm.
stool and then you just like, I can't do it anymore. I have to,
Right.
the world tells you to show your love on Christmas, you got to buy me a gift. So I don't pay my rent, right? And now I'm stressed out, worried about the first of the month because I didn't spend all this money showing my family that I love them because that's traditional chaos, right?
Wow.
And I lost my
Wow.
mind and my money and my family. And some people resolution to that is like, I'm just going to take everybody's life and I
mm,
can start over.
Yes.
And we don't think about those things, right?
Right.
Grinch, because I try to tell people the truth, but just look at it. This is what happened. It's the worst time of the year, but they try to make it on TV the best time of the year. It's not. The suicide
Right.
rate is high around the holiday season.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
I heard Pastor Keon in Houston, and he said that when he was talking about how people will do exactly what you said, spend money that they don't have, trying to make somebody else think that you are that.
mhm,
And it's a facade. It's fake. It's not real. But something else you said earlier, you used the word confidence. So empowering words give us confidence, give us the motivation, the ability to be self-determined.
mhm.
Because I'm, every now and then people might think somebody living in here with me, literally in here. But no, the truth of the matter is, it's just me, self. And I stay on this topic a lot during in conversations that we must find a way to unconditionally love ourselves. And
Exactly.
I learned that in a class that I was taking when I first came to California. Um, and the guy, he just like, I think he just picked me out the barrel. I don't know. But it was a great question to me because he said, Stacy, do you unconditionally love yourself? And at that moment, I had to say no. And why? Because my behavior was showing that I did not because if somebody else would say they did not like something about me, then that made me feel like, oh my gosh, well, what can I do to change it?
Well,
Not today,
you know
though.
me, not caring what other people think, because my life is lived for me, not for other people, right?
Ex- Exactly.
It's something that we all have in common here. Pac-Man, Stacy, confidence. When I see,
Hmm.
when I read your books, confidence just exudes from you. Pac-Man get on that. He play his instrument, all confidence. He know he the, he that, So
Well, you know.
like, and that's important to have that, to walk in that confidence.
Amen. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And the key is walking in it, making movement in it, going forward in it, regardless of what comes, because life is going to show up whether we want it to or not.
Exactly.
It's going to show up and, might slap you and spin your wig around backwards. But we have to still have so much, again, confidence in who we are and who we believe, and know that we deserve to be this high level of creature, reaching all actualizations. I believe that there are many actualizations in life. There's a step called self actualization that
Yes.
in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so it's like, oh, wait a minute, we got to get to this step. But don't think when you get there that that's it, because we are eternal beings. So since we're spiritual, eternal beings, we're going to keep going. As long as you keep putting in the work, as long as you keep empowering yourself and not disempowering yourself with words to make someone feel that they don't have power or influence, because influence is something. If you have influence, you really don't need that much money,
Mm.
because somebody that you're influencing, we're influencing people right now to think better about themselves. The title, what are you saying to you about you? Are you putting yourself in a box? I say get rid of the box. I've never lived in a box. I don't think I can fit in anybody's box, because as soon as they try to put me in one, then I have the mindset that, I'm gonna do something totally different. And see, as a child, that didn't pan out too well for me. Because I was going on what Pac-Man, what you said earlier about, being insubordinate.
Yeah,
And so, if my parents say something, I'm like, I don't,
give myself
I'm
permission to do it. I don't care what you say.
right. I'm gonna do something totally opposite, But then at that point, now I'm disempowering myself, because I have disobeyed those who were used as the vehicle to get me here. But do you feel like that a lot of people isolate themselves, and how does that disempower someone when you isolate themselves, Andrea?
I think that everybody needs somebody. And so when I started a few businesses trying to work with people and it didn't work, and I'm like, I don't need them. I could do it myself. Right. And I got this job, and I had to cook all this food, and I had to push a cart up this hill and then organize everything. My arms are hurting, my legs, and everything. And I'm trying to get
Mhm.
set up on time. And it just hit me. I need people. I can't continue to do this, and everything in your life. If I hold all of this stress and everything that's going on inside of me and I'm not releasing it, it's going to tear my body down and tear me apart. I have to trust somebody. And I can't
Mm.
continue to carry this burden on by myself. Just because one person wronged me doesn't mean that everybody that I come in contact with is going to wrong me. So I have to have that discernment to know. and seek God to see like who's for me. When I have these different connections or feelings about certain people, and I know what's right and what's like, oh, I can't do that. And I'm not gonna be in a crowd where I don't do certain things. It's not that I'm better. I just don't do what you do. And so I can't be in your circle of whatever you're doing because it's making me uncomfortable. And I don't want to be uncomfortable with what I'm doing. So you're not my person or you're not my people. So I have to find my people.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I came to that realization a long time that I can't help everybody, or I
Mm.
allow everybody to be in my space. And I don't use the word friend loosely. When a lot of people be like, friend, for no, that word is important to me. And so just, making sure that that's also showing up, for you, just adding that
Right.
community of support.
Right. Showing up for you. So important. So important. Pac-Man, how do you feel about isolation?
I think that now it's been transformed into a way to not improve or just to stay in a bubble, so that just
Mm.
don't come near me, or I'm just gonna isolate myself from people. But it's not that I'm working on myself. It's just like I'm hurt, I'm
Mhm.
afraid, and I'm scared. That's the same word. I'm afraid and I'm scared of what the world has done to me. What my like you said, when people around you have hurt you. Now I'm gonna lead them. I don't need them. I can do all this by myself. Okay, if you can do everything by yourself, build your own car, build your own bus, build your own ground. But like literally, someone has been in a way to be in a position to put you in a house, to put you in wherever you're isolating yourself in. You always need somebody, but it's hopeful that you get the people that are like minded, that are agreeing that I want to go forward. And even if you have to isolate in a way of I need to train, I need to get
Mm.
like I had this there's a saying of to get over somebody you gotta get under somebody, but sometimes you need to get over yourself. You got to get under a certain tutelage. You got to get under the reading the word, under working out, under just reading, surrounding us, under friends, under like supportive circles, under like all those things. Like that's a healthier isolation technique versus just like I'm just gonna be to myself because I can do all this by myself while you're on a social network telling everybody that you need to tell. You don't have to tell nobody. If you isolate, go away. Sorry, that might be a little imagery there.
Right. No, no, that's so true. That's so true. And you know, this day and age, where I tell you, this social media stuff is something else. And you know what? Actually, that was a great segue because social media uses words. People type stuff. They say they sit behind the screen, the coward screen, and type things out. And remember that old saying that this is it's a lie. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's one of the biggest lies ever told.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And again, a phrase being used for people to say it in a way of defense. You can call me whatever you want, but that's not gonna hurt me. Oh, yes, it will, because those words are going to land. They're going to, plant themselves somewhere unless you are someone who has diligently been building your mindset. Because now when people say things, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to take it to heart. It's like, well, because I've been working on myself, I don't have to be scared. I don't have to feel helpless. I know I'm not alone. And these are other affirmations that can be used to change the narrative. Let's change the story. When we speak words and they strike, it hits us in our soul.
Mhm.
I'm gonna pause there for a moment because being hit in your soul, that's the place where you have your ideas, where you have your will and your intellect. And when people start spewing, uh, spewing their garbage onto you, Now, again, our body doesn't have the ability to determine whether that should be absorbed or not. So we have to be careful of where we put ourselves, who we allow to speak even around us. And back to what you were saying, Andrea, that word friend, you're not my friend if we're not on the same thought wave. You know, some people still want to say, you know, I'm a bad bee or whatever it is. I'm not in that category. No, I am a peaceful, resourceful kingdom storage center. So everything that I produce is going,
Edification.
everything that I produce is coming from a place, first of all, of love. And if what somebody is saying to me is not inciting love, I'm gonna have to ask you to kick rocks, or I'm gonna kick rocks.
Yeah, with no
and,
socks.
and keep it moving, because the unconscious mind can't determine these things. Your psyche, your soul, it cannot um, determine, oh, was I supposed to hold on to that or no? And we've been talking so good, y'all. I keep forgetting about breaks and all that other stuff. I'm gonna take a short break, and we didn't even get to half the stuff. We're gonna have to do this again. But I am going to take us to a break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Have you found yourself wondering, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Recognizing the stranger in the mirror is the book for you. It helps us to unravel the mystery of who you really are, revealing your life's passion and why you should unveil the real you to the world. We need you. You are valuable and necessary for those who are connected to you. Do not be afraid to peek in and discover all your gifts and talents to share. It's real freedom when we reveal our authenticity. Stacey Bullock is a 2-time best-selling author, transformational speaker, and host of Tools for Everyday Living TV show. She is committed to igniting resilience, personal transformation, and building life skills of her audiences and clients. The author of 2 previously written self-help books, Beaten Oil and Regain Power Through Resilience, Don't Let Your Brain Go Numb. Stacey imparts lessons that teaches readers to utilize their light as a guide for others, and discovering inner strength and resiliency to bounce back when life throws curveballs. Stacey may be reached for speaking engagements, leadership and employee training, and life skills coaching via her email at stacy@powerandresilience.com.
And just like that, we are back. You know, I was studying and reading as I do every time we have a show. And I want us to understand the significance of the words that we speak. Studies, they show words, positive or negative, they affect us on a deep psychological level. And they have also have a significant impact on our lives. It's been found that when, I talked about it earlier, the sound waves, when they're emitted, they're not just, you know, spoken to the person who is standing in front of you, but there's a message that's carried with it. And sometimes that message can say, you're no good. You don't know what a person hears when we speak. We can all go to the same service or concert or anything, and something that's said is not going to say the same thing to all of us. I have a friend of mine who used to give this story when he spoke, and he said, if I put 5 people at this window, we're going to get 5 different views. So and it's the same window, but the people are going to see something different. And when we speak, we're going to hear something different. So I want you to understand that what we say, whether it is positive or negative, it is going to have an impact. And I don't know how you all feel, but I always say that when people have been consistently told negative things, or they say negative things to themselves, like when they're in those moments of isolation where they're not building, they're just stalking, it's back there saying, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. You're dumb. These things that ring over and over and over again in our minds, and not just our mind, but in our heart. So when they get into the core of who we are, now we're going to start producing behavior, first of all, that's going to show that we don't have the ability to care. And I want us to understand that we have to speak loving and caring language to ourselves. And I need you two to tell me why you feel like that is so important on a daily basis.
Well, as Andrea said, how are you going to love others if you don't love yourself? So it's important to tell yourself loving words, to kindness, even if just I'm thankful that I woke up this morning, and so you can share that by just saying hi to somebody. But encouragement. One of my mission statement is to inspire, motivate, and encourage people around the world through music positively, because I want them to be able to have the power to do whatever it is positively in their lives to affect others, and so that we always can always uplift one another and grow. And this is like a flower. You have to encourage the flower by giving it the water, giving it the sunlight, giving the power. You are that flower, you are that seedling, and you're ready to bloom and blossom. But if you always just keep yourself in the shade or keep yourself down, you're never going to grow. So it is important to um, empower yourself and encourage yourself and say much edifying words.
Yes, that's very important to know who you are, right? And it's great that Pac-Man has that, the way that he thinks, because most young men, they don't care. They don't have that instilled in them at all. And it's very sad. So I'm happy to see that. But just starting with yourself, like every day, being thankful, like Pac-Man said, for just waking up, opening my eyes, and knowing that I'm okay and I'm protected, and I'm covered by the grace of God. I always know that whatever I set out to do is going to be great. Belief, right? But if I have people that's on my team or community of people, if I don't feel good about myself and walk in that positivity or love or light or confidence, why would they do anything with me? How am I going to be successful without that? If I don't have self-belief or belief in self, it's not going to work. So when I work, even in an interview or trying to get a catering gig, right? The food can taste good, the presentation can be well, but if they ask you questions, you're like, oh, I don't know about this, then no, you're not going to get the job. That's why a lot of people out here that make food, this could be crap, but because they believe in what they're doing and they have this following and these people believe in them, they are successful because of that confidence. And that's what a lot of people don't get. You can be the best at whatever it is that you do, but if you don't believe in yourself, you don't have that confidence, it's not going to work.
Right. When I was a young soldier, I was going to a promotion board. That's how you get promoted up to certain ranks. And the gentleman who asked me the first question, I didn't even know I got it wrong. He said, you said that question so confident that I had to look down on my paper because I thought it was written down wrong on my paper just because of how you said it. And I was so glad. Thank you. I was so glad though that I did not know that I got it wrong, because that might have turned my mindset to everything else is wrong. But that was the only question that I got wrong, and I did get promoted from that. But confidence has a way of showing up to others that they start to think, well, wait a minute, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's some, that's good to have people actually believe in you that much that they feel like, well, wait a minute, let me go check myself. But before we move too far, I want to let people know that words, a single word can generate, can attack, no, excuse me, affect our genes. It has the ability to regulate physical and emotional stress. So let's be mindful of that when we are going on with this negative self-talk, even to ourselves. Our neurons are being affected. That's why when people have certain illnesses and they send them to these places where they play this lovely music, and they have radios next to people and play affirmations all day and all night, because your neurons, the electrical system, your cells that fire signals to your body, to your organs, and telling it you're healthy, you're strong, you are normal. We have to speak to our own neurons in our system, because they're responsible for carrying information. And we want to make sure that that the right information is carried. Before we get too far, the power of self-talk. We might have to come back and do that show another day, because it looks like we got about 30 seconds left. I thank you all for coming on the show. I appreciate you all so much. We have Miss Andrea, the poet, and we have Pac-Man Dixon II. And I am excited for you all to come back, because I know that this is a much needed conversation. We'll see you on the flip side.